Hi, I'm Nan Simonson, and I am a health coach with a lifestyle medical clinic. I believe that with lifestyle as medicine, we can age so beautifully at any age. I just turned 72. I intend to have decades going for me. And one of the ways I do it is by following the dictates of the College of Lifestyle Medicine and the clinic for which I see patients, work with groups, and basically live my life based on those tenets. And one of them is a diet that is as close to nature as possible, foods as grown, and preferably as close as we can get to a whole food, plant-based diet. Am I saying vegan? Well, vegan doesn't mean healthy. It just means you're not eating animals, which is a really good idea. But Coke Slurpees are vegan, Oreos are vegan, French fries are vegan if they don't use lard. So no, I'm talking whole food, plant-based, the potato, not the French fry, the apple, not the fritter, and all of that. So I have fallen in love with jackfruit. Jackfruit can be a little bit difficult to enjoy if it's made in such a way that you still get the real brininess of it. And so I didn't like it for the longest time as a substitution for whole food plant-based meat at restaurants that would offer it for tacos or wraps or in salads because of the brininess. But one of the brands, Native Forest, has a recipe on their can that I used and now I love it. As a matter of fact, I've been making their recipe for what I call a chick-less salad. It's like a chicken salad, tastes great, not briny at all because of a couple of steps, and I'm going to show you what I mean. But then I decided, okay, I'm going to buy what's easy for me. I have a Trader Joe's 3 minutes from my home. I really like Trader Joe's because they don't go out of their way to up the prices of organic. I can get my organic foods, and I like the idea of organic because I don't want chemicals in my food, and I don't want the pesticides and the glyphosate, which is Roundup, in my foods. So I go for organic, but it's 50 cents more for a package, let's say, of greens rather than dollars more. Well, they have a jackfruit, green jackfruit, that is only $1.99 for a can, a 20-ounce can, which is 1 pound, 4 ounces. Then I went to my whole food grocer and I bought a can of young green jackfruit. It's vegan. Well, yeah, it is. You didn't have to say that. Non-PBA lining. I do like that idea. But it was more than, well, almost twice as much. So I thought, okay, I want to remake my batch of chick-less salad. And I thought, why don't I do it and experiment with the different ones? So I thought I'll show you that as well. So I have this brand, which is, and there are several brands. I'm not sure that it's necessary to go organic with this because this is a big pod fruit with a big thick skin that has to be peeled off and then the fruit separated out of it. Now, maybe organic would mean that they don't do a lot of funny business afterwards. I don't know, but I thought I'd take a look at Nature's Charm Young Green Jackfruit. The idea is you always drain it, then rinse it. So this is what this looks like. And I did taste it, and yes, it is briny, even though the instructions say you can eat it right out of the can. I don't like that kind of flavor. So that is young, what they call green jackfruit, which means the skin is still green. Then I opened the can of Trader Joe's, and I will say that theirs it's not as pink. This is a very sweet pink look. Sweet, what a descriptive. And this one is a little less, I'll say, pretty. It's a little bit more brown, but it doesn't matter when it comes down to cooking. Now, what you do with this, that step that I said made a difference, is that in order to do this recipe as directed, and I've done it that way, you're going to boil it for 5 to 7 minutes twice. And I thought, you know what? When I saw that recipe, I thought, that makes sense. Boil away the brine. The brine is how it's stored. And the brine is usually a citric acid. I saw one can that said it's in brine plus lime. Well, that still meant citric acid with a little bit of extra lime. So I have these in pots, and I'm going to boil both of them for 5 to 7 minutes. Whoops. And then I'll get back to you. Well, I'll get back to you after I do it a second time. So I'm going to boil it 5 to 7 minutes, drain it, put it back in, cover it with water again. This is just, oh, I don't know if you, yeah, you can see that. And cover it with water again, boil it again, 5 to 7 minutes. That sounds like a nuisance. It's not. It takes minutes. I've made this now, what, 4 or 5 times, and it's no big deal at all. There's plenty I can do around a kitchen for that 5 to 7 minutes. And then I'll put it together and show you what I've got when I'm finished. See you in a couple of minutes. Hi, I'm back. All right, so boil, drain, boil, and the original recipe called for using a vegan chicken flavored kind of a granule. I had this in the cupboard, Chick Nish. It's called vegetarian seasoning that I haven't used since I bought it at the recommendation of several actually plant-based demonstrators, because I don't see this as a whole food. Even though I used it the first time I made it, the goal is to give it a bit of a chicken flavor. So today I just used poultry seasoning. I used a little less than half a teaspoon of poultry seasoning in the second boil to give a nuance of what we consider to be, oh, that's kind of poultry. It's those seasonings like sage and what else do they use in poultry seasoning? Sage and I think they use marjoram. In any case, so this is what I have. This one is the Nature's Charm. This one is Trader Joe's. Definitely a darker look to it. What you do with this when you first drain it is you kind of, and I've just washed my hands, you kind of break it up because you want it to be slightly stringy, and by nature it is stringy, but there's also, can you see this? There's also, see, there's some stringiness to it, but then there's also, and it's the basic way that jackfruit fruit grows. If you've ever seen it in the pod, there are lots of segments to it, and you pull out these little pieces. Some of the pieces, excuse me, I am air frying pre-boiled Yukon potatoes that I then mash for my husband's lunch. Actually, we both are going to have it today. It's like having French fries with no oil. Can you see them back there? No, you can't. Okay. So I'm chopping this up, and I would do it on both of them, but I'm not going to because they're identical. But I'll show you how to make the salad. So I'm chunking them, kind of shredding, kind of chunking. You can make it as fine as you like. I liked having chunks. There's even these interesting kind of seed things in jackfruit. Now, is jackfruit as healthy as meat? Because they even say on the can, a meat substitute. No, it's not. Not if you consider a meat substitute to be a protein source, a protein substitute. Jackfruit has very little protein, like almost nothing. It has some fiber, so it's not even really a high fiber source. As a matter of fact, one serving of it has nominal calories. Actually, it has 7 grams of fiber. That's a lot, but 0 protein. So no, it's not a meat replacement. It's actually a fruit as opposed to a vegetable. But unlike a lot of fruits, it's loaded with vitamin C and more nourishment than apples, apricots, bananas, avocado, because it has folate, it has magnesium, it has a lot of potassium. They actually say with diabetics they have to be a little careful because the body will think that this is going to need a surge of insulin, and it can cause, and it doesn't, because it doesn't have sugar. It's not a sweet fruit. Okay, and it could cause lowered blood sugar. So I'll just mention those things. So you see the difference. This was before, I'll be a little more brown. That is after. So the Trader Joe's is a little bit more brown, but it's just as tender. And again, almost half the price. So you can decide, although this one is organic, and so do I care? I'm not so sure. Now, I'm going to add to it carrot, celery, and green onion, equal parts, almost a cup. And I'm going to use a little bit less because I want a little bit more jackfruit, a little less vegetable, but I could expand it by putting in more. The recipe calls for using veganese. I have this, the reduced fat veganese, which is about half the calories. But what is veganese? Yes, it's vegan. No, it doesn't have egg in it, but it is a mayonnaise. And what's a mayonnaise? A mayonnaise is oil. So it's kind of a homogenized oil product, but if it's low fat, then they use some starches to thicken it. But at 50 calories per tablespoon, and I want about 5-6 tablespoons of something in here to moisten it, 6 times 5, that's 300 calories I'd be adding to this, and I like this enough to be able to eat the whole thing. Well, I haven't in one sitting. I'll show you what I'm going to do with it today for lunch. So instead, I used my Nan's ranch dressing. You can find it on my website, nansimonson.com, the ranch dressing. And we love this on salads. We like it as a dip for our artichoke, but it's also lovely with this. And it's a relatively thick, you can make it thick, you can make it thinner, but it's a relatively thick dressing, no oil whatever, no beans. I was going to say no nuts and seeds. Yes, there is some tahini in here, which means sesame seed, but no other nut. But so what thickens it? Potato. So I'm going to put in here, it's about 1/3 of a cup, which is a little tiny bit less than 6 tablespoons. But I'm going to just eyeball it because I want it to have moisture, and I want it to have some, I was going to say stick-to-itiveness. Binding is what you usually will do with something like this, like a egg salad, a potato salad, a chicken salad. Well, in this case, I'm going to show you. Pre-cooked, then refrigerated. This is batch cooking. Woo! And, crunchy, delicious. We'll dip it in hummus. And that's part of our lunch. Okay. Because part of our lunch is what I'm going to show you right now. Yowie. That is hot. All right. So I've made my chickenless salad. Gonna taste. You have the recipe included with the video. That's really nice. You may want to add more mustard. You may want to add, oh gosh, what else? You may want to add a little bit of pickle relish. I would like that. I have an organic pickle relish. I'll probably add a little bit of that. And what I have here is well-toasted sourdough bread. I have to be careful with gluten, but if it's a well-fermented 24, 30-hour fermentation, the gluten can be as low as in gluten-free bread, okay, on a sourdough. If you're celiac, you don't mess with that because what you can have parts per million is so much less than somebody who is just sensitive. So there. Doesn't that look good? Yum, yum, yum. I am going to put a little bit of the pickle relish, I think. And I think that's it. So let me see if I told you everything about it. You can get the original can that I bought, which was the Native Forest, of course, vegan. It's all on the can, PBA free, organic, jackfruit. You can get it on Amazon for $4.50 or higher a can. You can get it for a little bit less if you buy 6 cans at once. But you can get jackfruit just about anywhere now because it's a very popular way for those of us who don't eat meat to be able to do something like this that nourishes us. I'm also preparing a salad for myself. This is a newly posted recipe for my kale salad. So there's kale salad, some batch cooked garbanzo beans that I just keep in the freezer and then dump out freely because I freeze them on a cookie sheet and then a sided cookie sheet that they call a jelly roll pan. And then I can just shake them out and defrost them. So I have my kale and it has, oh gosh, roasted butternut squash, pomegranate, apple, quinoa, and then that I will have my sandwich and that will be my lunch. Bon appetit to me and some of that potato. Okay, I hope you got something of use out of this. Consider subscribing, giving me a thumbs up. Consider reading Aging Powerfully. I wrote it 2 years ago when I was about to turn 70, just turned 72 and celebrated that, woohoo, with a audio version that just came out. So you can find it on Audible. And I talk about going through an eating disorder most of my life, getting through that, getting through some other things and coming out on the other side stronger than ever with lifestyle as medicine that gives me this attitude I have that I still have decades of fun and I want it. Have a great day. I know I'm going to. And thank you for watching. Bye-bye.